Summer 2017, Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Astronomers using the iconic radio telescope witness a repetitive signal. It's radiating from the direction of the Virgo constellation. It has all the characteristics of intelligence. It seems to be coming from a small, red dwarf star named Ross 128. And it's just 11 light years away, one of our nearest cosmic neighbors. "5,300 kilometers to the south, on a Chilean mountaintop, the 3.6-meter La Silla Observatory is completing more than a decade of monitoring that same star. In those data, a stunning detection. There is an Earth-sized planet orbiting Ross 128. And it resides in the habitable zone, where life, sustained by liquid water, is possible. Now, wielding sensitive new instruments, planet hunters are suddenly finding thousands of new worlds all over the sky. But have any of them sprung to life? Or are we on Earth, lone orphans of the universe? Look up at the night sky. Pick any star. According to astronomers, it probably has several planets in orbit around it. And there are many more stars out there than meet the eye. The most common star type in the universe is the red dwarf, also known as the Class M star. They're hard to see, small, lightweight, cool, and faint. But these conditions actually make it easier to find exoplanets orbiting around them. Because red dwarfs are petite, the wobbling motion caused by their planets gravitationally tugging on them is larger, so it's simpler for instruments to detect. Because they're low in mass, the planets orbit close in. Their years go by in just a few days, so it's easier to see the wobble pattern repeating. And passes across the face of the star, called transits, happen much more often. Because they're cool and faint, there's less glare, so planets are plainer to perceive. Proxima Centauri, our stellar next-door neighbor, is just such a red dwarf. It's puny, just 12% the mass of the Sun, and less than 14% as big. It's only about 1% as bright, so it's relatively cool, only about 3,000 Kelvin. Our Sun is nearly 6,000 Kelvin. And after extensively studying the star for more than 16 years, astronomers have confirmed at least one small planet dwells there. Proxima Centauri b. It's at least 1.3 times more massive than Earth, probably dense and rocky like our world. which would make it about 10% bigger. It orbits its parent star once in a little more than 11 days, revolving at the distance where water could be liquid, as well as solid and gas, just like Earth. But there's a problem with that star. Like many red dwarfs, Proxima Centauri has a stormy temperament. Large flares, blasting X-rays, bathing its system of worlds in deadly radiation, eroding away any life-supporting atmospheres they may have. And there are problems with that newly found planet. Although it's in the so-called Goldilocks zone, Proxima b orbits only 7.2 million kilometers from the source of that radiation. That's 21 times closer to its star than we are to ours. Because Proxima b doesn't rotate, it may have no magnetic field, nothing to ward off the onslaught of lethal energy. To anyone standing on the surface of that world, the irate red star would look 10 times larger than our sun does to us. More concerns. The planet doesn't tilt like ours, and its orbit seems to be nearly circular, which means it doesn't have seasons. Earth's changing climate and relatively rapid rotation of day into night likely stimulates the continual evolution of life. Proxima b is much less dynamic. It's probably in tidal lock with its star. Like our moon, it always shows its parent body the same face, so it may have a warm day side, which would bear the brunt of the flares coming off the star, and a cold, frozen night side. The view from that night side would be dominated by two dazzling stars, Alpha Centauri A and B, forming a triple system with Proxima, each tens of times brighter than any stars in the night skies of Earth. But there may be no one there to see them. If you go a little further out from Earth, the news gets better. Ross 128, only 11 light-years from us, is one of the quietest red dwarfs known. It discharges hazardous radiation much less often than its sister M stars. The High-Accuracy Radial Velocity Planet Searcher, or HARPS, has been looking at Ross 128. Combing through 10 years of data, astronomers recently confirmed a rocky planet gliding along in the star's temperate zone. Dubbed Ross 128b, the small dense planet looks to be 1.35 times the mass of Earth, much like Proxima b. And similar to the planet at Proxima, Ross 128b orbits about 20 times closer to its calm and cool star than does Earth to our hotter sun. Its year is just 9.9 days long. This planet may offer the closest, most comfortable environment of any exoplanet found so far. But that's not conclusively proven. The Ross world may be more like Venus, holding a high-pressure atmosphere that's too hot for life. And what about that intriguing Arecibo radio signal? The celebrated Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia and the SETI Institute's Allen Telescope Array in Northern California both took a long, hard look. The repeating signal wasn't seen again. Researchers' best guess is that was most likely a reflection of pulses from one or more communications satellites in geostationary orbit around Earth. But though there's no proof of intelligence, astrobiologists remain enthusiastic. This, they say, is the right kind of place to look for life. Small red M-dwarfs live hundreds of times longer than sun-like stars. If primitive life can get a toehold on a world near one, there's plenty of time for evolution to learn to cope with harsh conditions. Red dwarfs are opening up new possibilities of finding habitable worlds just when planet discoveries around more familiar stars seem to be shutting them down. Scientists will invent different schemes for detecting alien planets. Most successful so far, at least in terms of raw numbers, is to task a space telescope with persistently staring at a rich patch of stars.
2, engine start, 1, 0, and liftoff of the Delta II rocket with Kepler on a search for planets in some way like our own.
Engine chamber pressures are building. Grounded solid motors.
Launched in 2009, the remarkable Kepler mission watches for the slight dimming of a star when a planet sails across its face along the line of sight between the telescope and the target star. Kepler astronomers and citizen scientists have spotted several thousand new planets using this transit technique. Thousands more are waiting to be confirmed by seeing them pass a second or third time, establishing the planet's orbital period. So, the longer humanity looks, the more worlds we'll probably see. In slower, wider orbits, more distant from their suns. The searches to date have mostly netted large diameter planets, most of them very close to their stars. Big worlds, transiting often, are beginning to divulge the secrets of their atmospheres. Astronomers are practicing on these worlds, learning to spot molecules like methane, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water, and oxygen, which could be products of active life, so-called biomarkers. A surprising number of these globes are truly gigantic, super Jupiters, between 8 and 14 times heavier than our own. Earth and Venus are up to 1,000 times smaller and 2,500 times lighter in weight, altogether much more difficult to spot. Some planets lead truly bizarre lives, like this extra-hot gas giant, HD 1897-33b. It orbits so close to its turbulent star that periodic flares tear off large chunks of its atmosphere. Researchers call this a torch orbit,